Alright, the divisional round of the playoffs has concluded, and we are down to our final four. In the NFC Championship, it is going to be the Washington Commanders at the Philadelphia Eagles. And for the AFC Championship game, we have the Buffalo Bills heading to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. And in this video, I'm going to look at what happened in these games and predict what's going to happen in the conference championship games. Now, for my predictions, I predicted the Chiefs to beat the Texans, even though I didn't want that to happen. I was right. I had the Lions beating the Commanders, and that didn't happen. The Eagles beat the Rams, as I predicted, and I did predict the Bills to beat the Ravens in a close game. And again, that is what happened. So, in those fronts, I was correct 3 out of 4 times. Compared to the wild card round, where I think I was 3 out of 6, because I had the Chargers winning and that didn't happen. I think I predicted the Ravens to win, because it doesn't be objective about that. I had the Bills winning, I had the Eagles winning, I had the Bucks winning, and the Vikings winning. So, I only went 3 for 3 on that one. 3 out of 6 on that one. In this case, I went 3 out of 4 with my predictions. So, hopefully the championship game is like I get both right. So, first, we gotta recap what happened in each of these games. What did each of these teams do right? What did each of these teams do wrong? And Texans Chiefs, I know there was all that controversy with the officiating, and even though I didn't like it, I don't want to get into it because the special teams for the Texans was abysmal. This field goal attempt was set up entirely by the fact that the Chiefs got a good kick return, and there was a penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct that basically gave the Chiefs the ball at the 13-yard line of Houston, which gave the Chiefs 3 points. They then missed a field goal from 55 yards in a situation where you either got to go for it or punt the ball, but you can't kick the field goal from 55 yards when it's like 20 degrees outside. Then, on this touchdown drive, that was a beautiful drive that took up over 10 minutes of the clock. The Texans missed the extra point wide right. So that was that. This was a disastrous play for the Texans. Horrible coaching by D'Amico Ryans to not call a timeout as the play clock was winding down, which JG and I did a video about, that resulted in a 16-yard sack. This punt was an absolute shank. It only went to the Houston 45 for 34 yards, and the Chiefs responded with a field goal, making an 11-point game. Then don't forget the blocked field goal. Special teams for the Texans, abysmal. Now, the Texans' offense actually did pretty good to their credit. 336 yards to the Chiefs, 212, 18 first downs to the Chiefs, 14. They did have a time of possession battle. Granted, the Chiefs would have had 23 more yards if they didn't take an intentional safety. So the offense of the Texans wasn't that bad, but then again, they'll also point to as unclutched, like 4th and 8 at the Kansas City 12, 68-yard drive that results only in a field goal. You go 43 yards just to miss a field goal. Blocked field goal after 53-yard drive. So, more importantly, though, what was more damning was the sacks, because Stroud went 19 for 28, 245 yards, compared to Mahomes, who went 16 for 25, 177 yards and a touchdown. And the rushing game was better on the Texans too. But, looking at the Texans, they had worse 3rd and 4th down efficiency than the Chiefs. And the sacks. The Chiefs took 3 sacks. Texans took 8. 8 for 58 yards compared to the 3 for 15 that the Chiefs took. So the sacks is really where the Texans got screwed over there. Not exactly a great game either, in my opinion. There were signs of competitiveness at the start, but it was 13-3 by the end of the second quarter. And while the Texans cut it to 13-12, they, could not continue. And by that point, it really was the Chiefs in control. It was just a sloppy game that wasn't even close, hence why I don't think it was a good game. Lions-Commanders was looking like a really fun game for a while until the Commanders just blew the doors open and won 45-31. more questionable coaching by the Lions. Lions actually took an early lead. They were up 7-0, and then it was 7-3 with the Commanders having the ball. But things very quickly turned sour for them. Now, in this case, both their offenses were really good. However, the Lions also turned the ball over 5 times. So even though statistically they might have been a little bit better than than them, you just can't turn the ball over that much. Goff got strip sacked, and then the Commanders used it to score a touchdown. Then Goff threw a pick six, and he threw another interception before the half when he tried to force it to the end zone when they were already in field goal range. Another disastrous interception by Jameson Williams, down 10, and then an interception to end the ball game. Commanders did not turn the ball over. So again, in some ways, it was better. Their offense looked similar for both sides, but the Lions had 5 turnovers and the Commanders had 0. So that's really where they got screwed. Like, Goff threw for more yards than Daniels, but Daniels had a higher completion percentage, more touchdowns, and he didn't have 3 picks. And don't forget the strip sack, too. Now, Rams versus Eagles. This was a game where the win probability meter went nuts. I'm an Eagles fan. Our defense was better than the Rams. Our offense stunk at times, though. Like, looking at the Eagles, they had a bad defense, a bad offense and a good defense, and iffy special teams. Jake Elliott made the field goals, but not always the extra points. Looking at the amount of sacks that the Eagles took in against, that was unacceptable. One of which resulted in a safety by the Eagles that cut the lead to 1 and gave the Rams the ball right back with momentum. Luckily for the Eagles, they punched the ball out and forced back-to-back fumbles, resulting in 2 field goals. Barkley got a touchdown, but then the Eagles' defense nearly broke down, and the offense nearly broke down before they finally got a clutch turnover on downs thanks to a huge sack. So, looking at that on that front, statistically, Rams offense marginally better with more yards, but 2 turnovers to the Eagles 0, and that's really where they won the game. Because in terms of sacks, the Rams took 5, the Eagles took 7, and for a lot more yards too. Eagles had a lot more yards per pass. Rams had a lot more yards per pass too. Third down efficiency was about the same. So again, it was very obvious that Now finally, Bills Ravens. The Ravens offense moved the ball really effectively, much more effectively than the Bills. But the Bills are smarter with it, and they didn't turn the ball over 3 times. Lamar Jackson had an interception, 2 touchdowns, 254 yards, 18 for 25. Allen went 16 for 22 with 127 yards. This game, the Bills jumped out to a 21-10 halftime lead, but nearly blew it. But the Ravens could not convert on the 2-point conversions that they needed to. And as a result, the Bills' defense was able to hold on and win the game. So, again, a really big course of events in there that allowed the Bills to win. So now, with that being said, looking at the championship games, the Eagles are more talented than the Commanders, but the Commanders played much better against the Lions. Their offense played elite, and their defense forced 5 turnovers. For the Eagles, what I'm really concerned about is that their defense is playing great, but it's going up against a great offense, so who knows how that battle turns out. And the defense for the Eagles, while it's really good, while the Commanders' defense isn't great, Eagles' offense was playing pitiful. If the Eagles and Commanders play the way they did in the divisional round, the Commanders will win this game, and I'm saying this as an Eagles fan. However, if the Eagles can correct their mistakes, this should be an Eagles victory. They're the more talented team, but execution-wise, they have not executed well this postseason at all, as resulted by their 2 wins being much closer than they should have been. Literally, the Rams game came down to the final 30 seconds. Bills, Chiefs. Chiefs have a better record, but I feel like they've gotten away with more stuff. I don't want to say that the NFL is rigged in favor of the Chiefs because that's not right to say. But on the other hand, so much stuff for the Chiefs has just felt so suspicious that it's hard to trust them anymore. It genuinely is like really hard to trust the Chiefs anymore. And the Bills were the one team to defeat them in a regular season game where the Chiefs actually tried. I know the Chiefs own the Bills in the playoffs, but I have the Buffalo Bills pulling off the upset here. Because, the Bills beat a really good Ravens team. Chiefs beat a collapsing Texans team that only made it to this point because they played a Chargers team that could not beat teams over 500. But that is that.